As the climate continues to warm, rapidly melting glaciers will catalyze runoff, resulting in mass loss throughout this century. For the urban areas that rely on their water supply from glaciers, the variability of intervals for which they store water will become inconsistent, and the release will become progressively more damaging for downstream communities. The threat to freshwater resources lies on the increasing levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, right? According to the executive summary, for each degree of warming, 7% of global population will be vulnerable to a 20% fall in renewable water resources. Some of the poorest, or at least the least prepared regions in the world, are vulnerable to the effects of plummeting groundwater reserves. For example, in sub-Saharan Africa, feedback mechanisms affecting overall water quality are altered by drier climates. Although there are vague and scattered projections linking water quality and climate change, sea level rise and storm surges have a more direct impact on the availability of groundwater resources. Coastal groundwater in unconfined aquifers is particularly vulnerable to suffer from saltwater intrusion, while freshwater storage is reduced as the saltwater takes over. In river delta regions, storm surges push salt water into streams that are then used to supply water to surrounding communities. This poses a challenge for rural communities that rely on fresh water to survive. For example, in the arid country of Botswana, the global temperature increase reduced the groundwater outflow enough so that this discharge in the spring season no longer takes place. This affects regional agriculture output patterns while also jeopardizing an already weak economy, as most are in sub-Saharan Africa. There are ways to mitigate the effects of groundwater and freshwater contamination. Institutional changes that can help in mitigating and adapting include the promotion of water energy saving synergies, the identification of realistic low target policies, and the compilation of manageable portfolio of relevant solutions, as well as adapting to the legal framework to make it instrumental for addressing the societal impacts of climate change.